Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve at ScanForce. We're going to go ahead and get started on the webinar here. I appreciate you all joining us here today. We have this set for a half an hour. We're going to try to keep this pretty quick here. I have a few slides I'm going to go through to start with, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a demonstration here. So to get started, we're going to review ScanForce. For some of you, this is going to be a review. You've gone over this with us before, but for those of you that haven't, I wanted to get a chance to kind of give you some background. So ScanForce isn't a solution that was developed yesterday. It's been around for a while. We released it to the partner channel back in 2006, and to date we have over 700 installs and thousands of users across the world using ScanForce. One of the things that sets our solution apart is the fact that we were the first to kind of pioneer the concept of having a solution that works whether you're connected or disconnected to your network, which does really two things for us. One, it makes ScanForce extremely stable. The second thing is it also makes it very flexible in terms of how real-time you want ScanForce to be. If you're disconnected, you can continue to work, and you get instant data validation as well, whether you're connected or disconnected. And with our auto post functionalities, if you're in a fully connected environment, it becomes a completely real-time solution. One of the other things that we're very proud of is we wrote a multi-bin solution a few years ago, and we're not going to talk about multi-bin today, but I do like to mention that the solution that Sage includes with their 100 cloud version is our multi-bin basic. So it's something we're very proud of, obviously, and something that's out there in the market, and ScanForce is the only WMS system that integrates with that multi-bin. ScanForce is also very flexible when it comes to the hardware. ScanForce can pretty much run on any device out there, whether it's iOS or Android. And most of the manufacturers of the rugged devices that are used in warehouses, they're all going with Android these days. So again, it's very flexible. You could even run on an iPod Touch if you wanted to with a barcode sled, or again, all the Android devices out there. The last bullet point here is just speaking to how we work with Sage. We go directly into your Sage system, whether you have a hosted environment or on your own servers. We go directly to wherever your Sage system is. We're not connecting up to another database out in the cloud or anything like that and then connecting back over to Sage. We go directly to Sage, which makes ScanForce faster than any solution out there on the market. Instant data record reads, so when you scan an item, there's no lag or delay as far as validating that item. Now, the next part here, I'm just going to talk about what ScanForce has out there for you. So the first thing, and what we're going to really be talking about here today, ties into our WMS system. Generically, that's shipping, receiving, and inventory transactions like counting items or transferring items. We keep that bullet point there, the and much more, though, because there's a lot more to ScanForce. And part of what we're talking about here today is that and much more. Over the years, we've developed quite a list of enhancements and also settings and features. So there's a lot more to ScanForce than just the shipping, receiving, and inventory. ScanForce also has a mobile sales solution. So whether it's on a smartphone, tablet, iPad, iPhone, you can go ahead and create quotes, orders, directly invoice someone if you're giving them a product. You can create credit memos on that mobile device, whether you're connected or not. You also have item and customer information. So you can pull up that information, creating customers on the fly if need be. There's signature capture. We have a link into Avalara's Avatax as well as credit card processing on that. And there's a lot of applications where mobile sales can be used. You know, whether somebody's selling out in the field or we have people that use this at trade shows, or even if you have a showroom where you have people come in to actually buy products, you can go through with a mobile device and create the orders. ScanForce also automates manufacturing. So we've had for years a bill of materials production entry. You can do it one of two ways. Backflushing components where on a mobile device, it can ask you, what are you making, how many, and backflush the components, or it can take the user through the list of those components based on the bill set in Sage. So you can go through and pick those items as you're doing the production entry. We even have some enhancements for this where you can stage items for a bill of materials production entry. So you can do that almost like you're picking a sales order where you go through, stage those items to then be used for production later. And the other enhancement we have for production entry is the ability to say, I want to make a product, but then actually correct the final yield once you actually have made that product. We automate work order, and within work order, we do material issues, completions, and even labor tracking. And we give you some fancy features also when you install our solution, like an auto release. So any of you that use work order, you know you have to create a work order, then you have to do a transaction entry to release it. We give you the ability to tap a button and boom, it's automatically released, and then you can do transactions for that work order. And then the last piece here is just our labeling. A lot of people kind of gloss over labeling pretty quickly, but to us, it's a pretty important piece. If items aren't barcoded on the inbound side, you can go ahead and print off barcode labels. You can design the labels to look however you want. they are integrated, or this solution is integrated within our scanning programs. So for example, on receiving, the handheld would prompt you to go ahead and print those labels. You can print off receipt labels. You also can print off shipping labels. If customers require specific labels, you can do that at the time of picking orders. And if you needed to, you could go into Sage 100 and actually print those labels as well. Now, the last part here is talking about the bundles that ScanForce has. We have three flavors, if you will, of our WMS system. The first one is our fundamentals, very basic. So this allows people to kind of walk before they run, if you will. Or for customers that don't need all of those advanced features, they can simply go with our basic solution here, which is our fundamentals. It gives you the ability to ship orders, receive, do inventory counts and transfers. Then with our advanced version, we get into more of, I'll call it true WMS style functions, where you can actually auto post transactions. You can do a pick and pack, where you can actually stage orders before they go out the door. That ties into our directed picking. Our dashboards are included there, and even some batch management tools, where you can specify the batch you want to import into if you're not doing auto posting, and you can even do things like transfer from one batch to another. The final version there is our premium, which is all the transactions we talked about, but it also includes the handheld programs that tie into the multi-bin solution. And we upgrade you if you've already had installed the multi-bin with the 100 cloud version of Sage. We give you our advanced for free. And that's also available whether you're on the cloud version or any other version of Sage. So any version of Sage, you get the multi-bin for free as well. Now let's talk about why we're here today. This is the whole, what is this whole wave that we're talking about? So there's two sides to this, on the receiving and on the picking side of things. So the first thing is we're going to talk about the wave receiving. So what this basically is, and I'm going to show you this here in a second, but it's the ability to group purchase orders together so that you can go by item. So if you have, let's say, a tractor trailer that arrives or a container from overseas, and there's several POs in that container, well, the items might be all kind of jumbled together. You might have some items from one PO up front, another, the same item even possibly, or other items from another PO behind it and whatnot. In order to check to make sure you got what you actually ordered, you would have to sort those out by purchase order and check them off. Well, with our wave receiving, you can actually group the orders together into one wave or one blanket receiver, if you will, and then you can go by item. So as you scan the items, then they'll go ahead or indicate the items. You can it'll go ahead and specify what PO it's on right on the scanner there, but then you don't have to go ahead and separate it out by purchase order. Again, you can just go item by item. If the item's on more than one PO, it would tell you it's on more than one purchase order, and then you select which one you want to go ahead and assign it to, and the end result is individual receipt of goods back in Sage. On the picking side of this, once again, it's grouping orders together. So that's the term wave. You're grouping them together. It allows you to pick more than one order at a single time. And then we sort by bin location, whether it's a multi-bin install or non-multi-bin. If you're using bins in Sage, we go ahead and sort that for you. So this allows you to walk the warehouse basically one time. So we wrote a blog post about this, and I'm going to use this analogy again, especially on the picking side here. This is where this applies. And it's talking about basically the concept of if you walk into a grocery store, okay, and if somebody gives you a list of items, the ideal way to do this is to walk the grocery store one time. I mean, I don't do this because I don't know where the heck I'm going in my grocery store, but when I do have to go, I try my hardest to walk it one time as opposed to going crisscrossing across all aisles. That's what wave picking is eliminating. It's sorting things for you. So if you're given that list to go ahead and get items at a grocery store, you get to walk it one time and you get all of your items for your whole entire list. Same thing, it's grouping those orders together on the sales order side of things. You walk the warehouse one time picking your items. So let's actually get into this here and let me show you guys what we're talking about. So I have a scanner here on my desktop and it's being mirrored on my screen here for you guys to see. I'm going to go ahead and log in. This is just the basic login for all ScanForce programs. And we do this by user so that we can control who's doing what on the scanner. And even in our dashboards and management console, we track who's doing what. Doesn't take up Sage users or anything, so you can set up as many users as you want. But I'm going to go ahead and hit accept to log in, and I'm going to tap on order processing. So I have a wave created earlier for multiple POs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this order processing, and actually I'm going to make sure that my screen continues to, actually let's do this, here we go. I'm going to make sure that you guys continue to see my screen here. Hold on one second. Okay, so we're back on the scanner here. So what I did, I'm going to hit back just to get you guys back on track here. When I tap on order processing, this is where we house receiving and shipping transactions. So if you'll see the second line down there is wave receiving. So you could still receive by purchase order and go PO by PO, and that's the first item there. Or I'm going to launch wave receiving, and I'm going to do a lookup. So this is going to connect up real time to my Sage system, and it's going to look for any waves that I've created in my Sage system. I have two here. The first one is an overseas container. It's just a description I gave it back in Sage. I'm going to select the second one that I created earlier today, and it's going to connect up to Sage now and grab the data for this wave and place it on my device. So it's going to start asking me for items. Now, if the items are already barcoded, I can go ahead and scan those. ScanForce allows you to scan an alias number. So if the items are barcoded and in that barcode, it's a different number that doesn't match yours, you simply just set that up as an alias and you can scan that barcode. You can even set up those aliases from the scanner as well. Now, you also have the ability to do a lookup. I tapped the item lookup there, and this now displays for me all of the items that are on this wave. So it also lists out the PO numbers there. So you can see purchase order 10041 has 2 items on it, and then purchase order 10043 has 1 item. Again, this would be a long list if I had a large purchase order, but I can go item by item now. I could have scanned it, I could key it in, or choose from this lookup. When you get a valid item, you'll see we default over to the quantity field. The numeric keypad pops up. I go ahead and key in my quantity. We're validating that as well. So we're validating the items, but also the quantity. So if I try to receive in too many, we alert you to that. And a setting option in ScanForce is you can allow over receiving or not allow over receiving. I obviously have mine set to not allow over receiving. So I'm going to key in the appropriate quantity. If you had our labeling software, after you indicate the quantity, it would then prompt you to go ahead and print labels. And you'll see if I do this lookup now, as I receive in items, the items drop off of that lookup. So I'm going to continue through here, receive all of my items. Again, you can scan, and I'm going to stress that. You can scan the items, and I stress that because I mention this a lot during demos, and then inevitably someone will ask, well, can I scan the item? Yes, I'm just simply doing this for demo purposes to go ahead and grab it from the lookup, but you can absolutely scan anything that's barcoded. Now, once I record my receipt, I send my data over to my Sage system. You'll see there was an unresolved line there. Any item that's not completely received in is categorized as unresolved, and we give the user a warning to that. So if I happen to skip an item, I would get a warning that I have unresolved lines. If I accidentally skipped it, it gives me a chance to correct that. Or if the vendor didn't ship it to me, I would simply just send that data over, and it would back order any items that weren't received in. Now, back in Sage here, if I go into my purchase order module, receipt of goods entry, I don't have the auto post enabled, so I can go ahead and show you guys this imported in. I'm going to grab my batch, and you'll see there are 2 receipts now for the 2 POs that we received in at the exact same time. So we actually have a customer using this software or this feature of ours that told us that they used to take a week to unload a container, and they're doing that now in 1 day. So with this container receiving or wave receiving, they've drastically reduced the time it takes in receiving those items and become even more efficient than they were using our standard software. Now, let's go back onto the scanner here. So that's wave receiving. So let me go ahead and get my calendar cleared there. I'm going to hit back, and I'm going to get back to that order processing menu. So you'll see about halfway down here, you have wave picking. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that transaction. And what you do on the scanner here is you're able to tap Create Wave. And this is where, as the example I gave of the grocery store, I would be able to take, let's say, multiple orders here now and simply scan those orders and group them together. So I'm going to tap Create Wave. And the device now wants to know what orders I'm grouping together. So I could scan those if they're already barcoded, or I could simply do a lookup, which connects up real time to my Sage system. And here are all my orders that are open in my system here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 that I created earlier today. So we have sales order 226. I'm going to select that, hit accept. It connects up and grabs that data from Sage, placing it on my device. And you'll see it lists the loaded orders there. So now I'm going to go ahead and actually just key in the next order number here. And it's going to connect up and grab that order. So you're just listing out all the sales orders that you want to group together. Now, when I'm done, I tap back, and you'll see it's created a wave there for me. I simply tap on that wave, hit accept, and now it's going to pull that up for me. And as I mentioned earlier during those slides, it sorted it by bin locations. So now again, I walk my warehouse in the most efficient manner one time, and now I'm picking multiple orders. We do list out for you, if you see here, the sales order number as well, so that the user or the person picking this can actually still kind of separate the items together by sales order. But what I can do, simply just grab my item. And by the way, I want to point this out too. You'll see here, this item 6655, that is on 2 different orders, but you'll see it's listed out twice. So again, as I mentioned, you can actually group these by sales orders. So you're still picking it all at one time, but you're still able to stage it by sales order. So I'm going to select an item, key in my quantity. That item drops off. I continue on, grab my next item, enter my quantity, and again, you can scan, you should be scanning the items, and we can disable the ability to grab from this lookup as I'm doing. Some of our customers like this so that if you're on a forklift, for example, and don't want to or aren't able to utilize long-range scanning, somebody can go ahead and simply tap on the screen here. Or if you want to force the user to actually scan the barcode for the validation side of things, you can disable the ability to select this like I'm doing here, where you highlight it and hit accept. So you would have to scan them. All right, so I complete picking these items. And the other part of this is the pick, pack, and ship concept. So we're just staging the order now. Excuse me. You could do this where you have it as one step, where this is just going to go out the door, as again, we separate this by item. But this is within the picking program where we're not going to be generating a transaction back in Sage. So with multi-bin, which I don't have enabled here, we do a couple of things. One is we move items out of whatever location they were being pulled from and place them into a staging or shipping location. So there's a bin transfer. There's also allocations that come into play back in the sales order side of things, where we go ahead and change that now to show that it's allocated from your staging or shipping bin. With non-multi-bin, though, when you send this data over, we're doing 2 things. One, we update the status here in our dashboards. So you would see the order go from ready to pick to being picked, and now it's ready to pack. So that's going to change the status when you send that over. The second thing is we do write back to the sales order back in Sage. And what we do is we give you a developer field here called quantity picked. So we go ahead and load that or populate this field here, and that gives us a record to go ahead and check. So if you're going to pick part of an order in the morning or part of it on one day and then go back and pick the rest of it at another time, you have a field, or we have a field here to reference, so that the user only sees what's still left to be picked. Now, the second step of this would be, once I've staged this order or picked it, then you can do the actual shipping, and that's a secondary validation side of things on the scanner. Or you can go ahead and convert this over to an invoice. Or on the scanner, we actually have the ability, when you go into our checking and packing, to tap a button called Ship All, and then it will just assume all the quantities are correct. So if somebody just wants to eyeball it and you don't want to force the user to go through every single item and quantity, they pull it up, they say it's shipped all, send it back to Sage, and then it creates the shipping transaction or invoice back in invoice data entry. Furthermore, if they are going item by item, you can actually indicate what package the items are going back into, and that'll populate back into shipping data entry, and then you can launch your shipping software to complete it from there. So that concludes the concept of Wave and how ScanForce utilizes that. On the receiving side, again, we're grouping POs together, so you don't have to separate it out purchase order by purchase order, just receive by item. And on the shipping side, you're able to group multiple orders together. So again, you're walking your warehouse one time, picking multiple orders all at the exact same time.
Steve, we have a question.
Yes.
Do you have any plans to allow the Wave to be created from the handheld for Wave receiving like you are able to for SO Wave picking?
We don't have any plans at this time to convert that over to have that on the scanner. Where that is right now is in your ScanForce module here. And you can go ahead and print your receipts from there, or your Wave, once you create it. Or, whoops, clicked on the wrong thing here. You have the ability right here to go in and create your actual Wave right here back in Sage. Now, this is where we're also adding the ability to create the Wave for picking here back within Sage as well. That's not available yet, but that will be available shortly. But this is where you would simply go in, create a new Wave. Then you go ahead and you can create the description. The one example I had was an overseas container, but here's where now you can just go ahead and start indicating POs. You do that back in Sage. Any other questions? All right, we wanted to keep this short, sweet, and to the point. Hopefully you all got something out of this. If you do want to see a more in-depth demo and see some of our other transactions, please reach out to us. Or if you're a Sage customer, reach out to your Sage partner. We'll work very closely with them to go ahead and make sure that we get you guys a solution that fits your needs. All right. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your day to look at this. We'll talk to you soon.